The key component of virtual production is visualization. Visualization of your computer graphics in all kinds of ways. And so that's how you can put pre-visualization in the context of virtual production. Pre-visualization is something you do in pre-production to visualize your script, your story. And then you go on set, and then the virtual camera will help you visualize some of your visual effects through the previs. And then you go into finishing or visual effects, and you know exactly what you need to do to finish the rendering and all the work, because there's a lot of work in visual effects that needs to be done to take the still video game-ish level of real-time rendering you can get on set to finish that to film quality level. But visualization is really the key word. And so if you take that as the premise, what are the technologies, the visualization technologies that are coming on board or maturing right now? There's a lot. And all kind of industries have been doing visualization for all sorts of purposes over time. And many of those visualization technologies are applicable to the motion picture business as they develop, from robotics, and we've seen an example in Gravity where they use industrial robots in order to do motion control and more than motion control to be able to synchronize the entire virtual set that they had to the previs that they had done before. So robot technology from car manufacturing, very expensive, very heavy, very professional kind of tools, to visualization tools you have on your iPhone today. Augmented reality in a consumer is something that is catching on, definitely happening. You can download apps that gives you over your view of the city. You'll have some information about the Eiffel Tower as you're going to visit a new country or anything that you look around. And these technologies also apply to filmmaking in some ways. And other examples of technology that we can that are coming up to speed. Here at FMX, there's a company called Solid Track that has a simulcam camera that is being used in virtual production a lot. The simulcam is something that we saw was publicized with Avatar. They did a lot of research around that in essentially having that real-time feedback on set of a handheld camera that also had your computer graphics on screen. And now there's a number of vendors offering that service, that service or that product that you can use for any movies. So, the motion capture vendors, what used to be called motion captures, is evolving now into becoming performance capture, much more sophisticated way of capturing the performance of actors. Andy Serkis yesterday in his presentation of Planet of the Apes 2 explained a little bit how the technology has evolved to better to allow him to translate his performance to the character in a better, more interactive way. And the actor still has to focus on what he does best, but the technology is evolving to make that a more natural process. The technology is less intrusive into the process. Andy Serkis today doesn't have to go reenact his performance a month later in a motion capture stage, for instance. And now Andy Serkis can perform on set, on location, the performance of his character. And that is captured on set and on location as he's doing it. And that makes the performance better. That gives all the visual effects and the digital production people, the virtual production people, much better reference to be able to do their work. And in a way, virtual production is cutting waste, or a lot of time and money that was spent in wasteful process a lot of those wasteful process are being reduced by using visualization and virtual production. I don't know if one day all movies will be required to have a pre-visualization phase, or if the studio could actually mandate that, or if all the directors will actually want that. Making a movie, first of all, it's never the same process exactly. It is different every time, and that's because the product is different every time. So the technology has to adapt and be there as a menu of things you can use. When the story of Gravity, and you look at it, it's really the director who came to the conclusion with the advice from the studio and suggestion from the studio that yes, this was the way to go to do this movie. So in the best cases, it's a team effort, and it's a team decision in a way, a creative team decision to say, hey, we need to pre-visualize this because it's helpful to the story. And that's really where it comes down to. There are stories that don't need previs, and I don't think it should be. It's a good idea to force previs on a period drama or a very people-based story that you can shoot the traditional way. A good example this year that we didn't talk about very much is Wolf of Wall Street. You know, you look at that movie. Could you have previs this movie in its entirety? Yeah, you probably could have. Would that have been useful? Probably not. But there was a few shots where it was necessary to do previs and to so when the boat crashes in the ocean and the main character gets lifted up by a helicopter. So a shot like that, you need previs, and it's not mandated. It's something that you do because it's helpful to do a better sequence for less money, and so you do it that way. And so there will be movies where doing a little bit of previs is good. There will be movies where doing the entire thing in previs is good. There will be movies where virtual production, meaning after previs, you go on set, you visualize, part of what you did from the previs, from what's going on with your actors, where that will be useful. And there will be movies which you will go all out virtual production from end to end. It will depend. If it's going to be all movies made that way, I don't know that. And as technologists, maybe we can do those predictions, for the fun of it. But really, our role is to be providing the technology, helpful technologies to the creative folks, and participate with them in the process of doing their product, which is a movie, and to bring those technology, both linear media technology and interactive media technology, to them so that they can use them to the best effect. Over the years, I came to the realization that you have two masters in this media and entertainment business, and the two really come from a different place. Let's call them the technology people of this era. Had a moment in time where they realized the power of the computer, and that one day you could make an entire movie on this. One day you could do an entire interactive world for video games with this. And that was 30 years ago. And there's been a march to realize that vision on the technology side. On the creative side, people have wanted to do movies, tell stories, do video games, and they've had visions that were not possible to realize at all, because we say today because the technology was not there, but they were just two big stories and you didn't know how you could possibly do that. Do believable dinosaurs from the beginning to do an entire saga in space with 18-minute long shot of the space shuttle exploding. You could have done that perhaps in some ways 10, 20 years ago. In fact, in the story that Chris DeFeria and Tim Weber were telling yesterday, when they started to do gravity, they were exploring hanging people on wires and having a set and doing it in a more traditional way. But it really didn't look good. You were trying to do, gravity-less environment, shooting people floating in space in an environment that had gravity in it on Earth here. So it was really difficult to remove the gravity from the equation of shooting. So the technology allowed them to tell that story in a completely convincing way. When you see gravity, they're in space, they're floating, they're just like you saw in all the IMAX movies and the documentaries that we've seen of every astronaut. Yet they're there. That you don't have that feeling that, oh, they're suspended of some wires, even though we don't see the wires. And so we don't wrangle the creative people. We listen to them. And if we didn't have them, we'd be lost in space. To take an analogy, we would be trying to do the coolest technology ever, right? And in fact, we're guilty of that sometimes. Oh, look at this shiny toy. Find a way to use it. Well, that's not really the best way. The best way to develop a product is to listen carefully to your clients or your would-be clients who have a need, who have something they want to do, and it's not always clear and well-defined, particularly in this business of creative ideas and products. But you listen, and then you catch that they are trying to do this thing, and you have these technologies that you can take or repurpose or change or evolve or do the next version, or big and small increments to give them what they need to realize their idea. So it's in the same way that making a movie, you'd never quite know if it's going to be a big blockbuster. In developing software products or services, it's the same thing. There's a part of it that is building what you build based on market analysis and the past. But there's a part that's about looking at where the market, the clients, the process is going, and that is in the future. You cannot measure that. You have to listen to the pioneers, those who have a proven track record of moving forward in the area that you're in, and work with them. That's why we're working with Jim Cameron on the next Avatar movies, as John Landau mentioned in his speech yesterday, and we're listening. The process there is very interesting. We're getting guidance. It's not a software development process as we know it in companies like Autodesk. It's very different, but it's led by a production and by a need to do some image on screen. And in the best of case, when everybody on all sides is firing on all cylinders, it makes better movies, makes better software. Autodesk has a great set of new versions of software this year. Maya 2015, Flame Premium are both very strong release of software that have a lot of innovation and a lot of great new features for the users of these products. And for the motion picture business, at the high end of the business, there's also a service that Autodesk offers with the Autodesk Consulting Group that can come in when there are specific requests that needs to be added to the standard release package, and can take the requirements, the novel and innovative requirements of movie makers in particular, and needs to be adapted and translated to the products. This is where the Autodesk Consulting Group comes in and can do just-in-time modification of software to any need that our clients have. And so in both cases, there is a great time to be at Autodesk today with these new versions that are coming out. And it's a great time for Autodesk users as well. FMX is a great conference. I've been at FMX for 3 years now, curating the virtual production track, and there's definitely been an evolution in the conference. It was already great when I came to it. I think it's moved from being a conference to now being this great meeting place for the audience and the people who come to see the presenters, but also for the presenters themselves. to be able to commingle in an environment that is out of their usual work environment or life environment where everybody's busy and has a lot of things to do. And there's a lot of conversations that we have here at FMX in the after hours that bring a lot of value, and a lot of decisions are made now here at FMX between people from the industry, because you have first a common purpose to come here and to present something, to communicate some exciting new developments that you have done in your movies or in your technology. But then after hours, because we're here in Germany and we are having a time for dinner or to go sit down and have a drink, you can really go to a level of conversation that you rarely have the time to do in wherever you are elsewhere on the planet. So it's a great European conference. It's a place to come in and congregate with this heartbeat. It happens once a year, and you can. The quality of the presentation is increasing every year as people know more and more about FMX, and it's being talked about. People want to come here. It's a great environment. I intend to come back next year.